to give a speech about a sort of a guide, to be a guide for the visits that they would be making in the future here in Sikkim. But then the topic, the topic that came up is a bit sensitive, and I guess I have to talk about the history, and I have to break down um, some parts of my state so that everything would be um, everything would be clear. And so before I start, I would like to share a bit history of my state. And I'm really sorry about the PPT. The PPT was all ready, but then unfortunately my laptop crashed. So I would be sharing some pictures. Okay, so before I start, before I give you a tour uh, through my state, I would like to take you to a journey through the history of my state, um, which is very um, very complex and very interesting, and it has a very huge background. So the history, the history before 17th century, the history of Sikkim is not very well documented, but um, and let me tell you in front the names that I would be telling you, the names of the places, the names of the persons. That might be a little bit complicated to all of the new friends who would be listening to it, but still, please bear with me. So the history of Sikkim goes like, the history of Sikkim before 17th century is not very well documented, and it is said that somewhere in the 13th century there was a prince whose name was Guru Tashi, who used to be from Tibet. He had a very divine vision that he should go south of his country to seek for his fortune in a place called Denzong. Denzong, which means the Valley of Rice. And so their family started wandering, and they came across a Sakya kingdom. And on that kingdom, a monastery was being built, but then the workers were not very successful in erecting pillars. And the eldest son of Guru Tashi, raised the pillar single-handedly, and he was considered to be very powerful and very superior. So the Sakya king, he offered his daughter to get married to the eldest son of Guru Tashi, and the couple, they settled down in Chumbi Valley, which is now very close to the Tibetan plateau. So they settled there, and the eldest son of Guru Tashi, whose name was K Bumsa, he was he did not have any successor. He did not have any sons or daughters. So he came in contact with one of the religious and one of the chieftains of Sikkim. And let me tell you, I belong to a tribe. I belong to a tribe called LEPCHA, and we have different people from different backgrounds living here, residing here in Sikkim right now. But then it is said that my ancestors were the first one to inhabit Sikkim. They were here since time immemorial, but then it's not clear where they came from, but still they were here. So the wedded couple, they came in contact with the Lepcha priest. So through his blessing, the K Bumsa, he was able to bear a son, and out of gratitude, they started meeting each other very often, and ultimately a treaty of brotherhood between the two chieftains were made at a place called Kabi Lonsok. It is still there. It is The Kabi Lonsok place is there on the way to North Sikkim. So uh, the Khebumsa had a son, and he was succeeded by his third son, whose name was Mipunrab. And the fourth son of Mipunrab was again named Guru Tashi, and it was Guru Tashi who brought all his family to Sikkim. He shifted his whole family to Gantok, and during the time, during um, back on those days, when colonial powers like Britain, Portugal, and France were making way to Indian subcontinent, another kind of history was being made in Sikkim, which was the monarchy system was being the monarchy system was being formed in Sikkim, and Guru Tansi's son, his name, Guru Tansi's grandson, I'm sorry, Guru Tansi's grandson's name was Funsok. So Funsok was consecrated as the first king of Sikkim, and he is considered to be the first king. We call them Chogel in our local language. So Funsok Namgyel was the first Chogel of Sikkim, and he was consecrated in the year 1642. And since then, the monarchy system started in Sikkim, and Sikkim has been ruled by 12 kings so far, and was um, the first one was Phunchok Namgyel, and then the last one was uh, Palden Thutup Namgyel. So during the monarchy system, a lot of changes was brought to Sikkim, and a lot of times the capital of Sikkim was shifted from one place to another. It was shifted from uh, mm, Rabdensi to Tumlong, and again from Tumlong to Gantok. So it was the capital has been shifted, and right now the capital is Gantok. So a lot of reforms has been made, and also it was on the reign of Chutub Namgyel that gift deed treaty was signed between British India and the Kingdom of Sikkim, in which the place called Darjeeling, which we all know, Darjeeling was gifted to the British India on the year 1835. So all of these are the facts, and since I've been given a very little amount of time, I would not be able to go through all of the history. So after that, after Palden Thutup Namgyel's reign, the monarchy system was completely abolished, and there was a lot of um, movements against the monarchy system that had started here in the kingdom, and a lot of democratic parties, local parties had started um, sprouting up, and in that way, um, the monarchy system was completely abolished. And minister, the first chief minister of Sikkim was uh, Kazi Lendup Dorji. Uh, I'll I'll send you the picture. So he was the first chief minister, and um, we have around six chief ministers so far, and the present chief minister's name is Prem Singh Tamang, who is popularly known as P.S. Kole, and the former chief minister was Mr. Pawan Kumar Chamling, who ruled Sikkim for about 25 years, and who is also considered to be the longest ruling chief minister in the history of India. So that is how the politics and the history of Sikkim is made roughly. And we have around Sikkim is a small state sandwiched between um, Nepal in the west, Bhutan in the east, and Tibet in the north, and West Bengal, another Indian state, in the south. So this way, Sikkim is completely landlocked between three international borders and one national border. And we have a very good amount of flora and fauna. We have a very tropical to temperate temperatures here in Sikkim. We have a very good climate, but um, most of the time it's quite humid here. And by traveling only a few kilometers, one can leave a city like Gantok, which have all amenities, and reach a quaint village from a very different age. And we have villages still. We have villages named Bringbong and Pasingdong, which seems to be like a village from a very ancient time. So Sikkim is a very nice place to be in. And though we are a part of Northeast Council, we do not share border with any of the Northeast or the other seven Northeastern states. And mercifully, the state is also not troubled by any such insurgency, or we do not come to be associated with any other Northeastern state. We hardly have any strikes, or we hardly have any bans in Sikkim. So Sikkim is a very peaceful place to be in. And Sikkim has also been the first place to ban the use of plastic carry bags and use of fertilizers and pesticides. So Sikkim has been in highlight for for a very good reasons for a couple of times. And uh, we also have hello, am I audible?
Yes, proceed, proceed. Clear, proceed.
Okay, so we are surrounded by three countries, like I said before, and we share 220 kilometers long border with Tibet, which lies under the China rule right now, and we share 100 kilometers borders with Nepal, and we also share 30-kilometer borders with Bhutan, and almost 80-kilometer borders with West Bengal. And Sikkim is a very well connected place by rail, air, and road. The nearest place that we have to be at is Siliguri. The airport is at Siliguri. We do have a airport here in Sikkim as well, but then right now it's not functional due to some problems. So the nearest airport is Bagdogra Airport, which is about 4.5 hours away from Gantok, from the capital. We also have rail connectivity. The nearest railway station is NGP, New Jalpaiguri, which is also at Siliguri, which comes under West Bengal government. And we do have a helicopter service here at Gantok. Uh, so, mm, and also uh, we do not have any language problems here in Sikkim. Most of the people here we speak Nepali, and we also do speak Hindi and English. So even if any tourist who wishes to visit here do not have any problems communicating with the locals here, because most of the people here, they do know how to speak Hindi and English. And also Sikkim is a very small in size, but then it is amply compensated by formidable physical features. We have lots of rivers, we have mountains, and we have lots of flora and fauna. Uh, national, our state animal is called red panda, and we do also have our state bird, which is called blood peasant. I will be sharing pictures with you later. And we also do have a state tree, which is called rhododendron tree, and we also do have state flower, which is called Nobile dendrobium. Sikkim is very famous for all kinds of orchids. We also have orchids which was named after Priyanka Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi's daughter. And so yeah, so that was basically the physical features and everything. And also we do have a very humid type of weather here in Sikkim, because the proximity to the Bay of Bengal is very high, and due to the rich rainforest coverage, when there's any um, turbulence in the Bay of Bengal, we do get heavy rainfall here in Sikkim. And as a matter of fact, we had the rain pouring throughout the day today as well. And we also have, like I said before, we also have a huge amount of mountains, glaciers, and one of the most renowned mountains we have here is called Kanchenjunga, which is the third highest mountain of the world, which is 8,588 meters, and we we have lots of lakes here in Sikkim. The nearest one from the capital, from Gantok, is Thangu Lake, which is just 34 kilometers away. And we also have the nearest lake from Gantok is we have Meminchu Lake. Meminchu is famously known for fishing of trout fishing there. We do have trout fishing there. So Meminchu Lake is there, and the highest concentration of lake is, however, on the western border. We have Lakshmi Pokri, Lam Pokri, and all sorts of Pokri on the western border of the state.
Sorry to disturb you. Is
Hello,
it
yes.
possible to show the pictures? It's easy for us to, if you show the pictures of the lake, it is easy for us to watch. Is it possible?
Okay, I'll be sharing.
Your friend is having the PPT, please.
Okay, so yeah, so this is one of the lake. This is one of the lake. It is called Guru Dongmar Lake, and it is considered to be one of the sacred lakes here in Sikkim. And Guru Dongmar is also the largest in Sikkim, largest lake in Sikkim, and it is considered to be very sacred to the locals here. And the locals also go for a pilgrimage there every once in a while. And um, I also have pictures for. Okay, so no, this is the only picture I have here in my phone. I'm really sorry for the inconvenience, but I really want you to please bear with me. Okay, okay, so this is Guru Dongmar Lake actually. I hope you all can see it. This is considered to be one of the sacred lakes here in Sikkim, and it is also the largest lake. And we do also have a lot of rivers. The most famously known river we find here is Tista, and that flows through Sikkim and snakes through deep gorges, taking tributaries. And we also have a river called Rangit, which is one of the biggest tributaries of Tista. And Tista originates from a small lake called Cholamo, which is hardly a stream. But then, as it moves forward, the Tista becomes um, very huge, and we do have lots of rivers. So it is very tempting, and it is very tempting for all the hydro projects that have come up in the state. And we are also being able to sell powers to the neighboring states because of the rivers, because of the hydro projects we have here in Sikkim. And we also have hot springs here, and the most famous ones are Yumthang, Borang, Ralang. These are all local names for the hot springs here. And these all these hot springs, they have high sulfur content and are located near the river banks. And the average temperature is 50 degrees Celsius for this hot spring. So these are small details about hot springs, lakes, rivers, the physical aspects, the physical features of our state. And we do get a very um, ample amount of rainfall, like I mentioned before. And it is also, Sikkim is also considered to be one of the rainiest regions in India. And during October to March, there is any hardly rain in the weather. So the weather remains more or less very clear. The days remains very clear during October to March. And uh, these are all the physical features of the state. So let me come back to the people here who reside here in Sikkim. Most of the population here who are residing here in Sikkim, they consist of Nepalese, and we also have um, tribal people here living in Sikkim. One of them is Lepchas, and the other one is Bhutias. And the Lepchas, like I mentioned before, we have been living in this state for time immemorable. And the Bhutias, it is said that they arrived in Sikkim from um, they arrived in Sikkim from Bhutan a very long time ago, and they have been inhabiting here in Sikkim for a very long time. And most of the northern part of the Sikkim, um, they consist of most of the northern part of the Sikkim. And one of the most important aspect of North Sikkim is they have a legal system known as Zamsa, and the Zamsa system is used to settle disputes there in the North Sikkim. And Zamsa means public meeting place, where the village hetman, who is also known as Pipon, he meets out all the justice, and he's also chosen once in a year by the villagers. Mm, they do vote by the show of hands, so they choose a Pipon every year, and the Pipon takes all decisions regarding the village life, like when the crop should be harvested, and even if anything comes up there in the North Sikkim, he has to be responsible for providing justice and everything. So that's one of the most interesting thing there in the North Sikkim. And the Bhutias, they have their script, which is very similar to Tibetan script, and the Bhutias, they constitute about 10% of the total population of Sikkim. So I'll share you I'll share you one of the pic. So yeah, this is the traditional attire of the Bhutanese people here in Sikkim, and we also have LEPCHA. This is the LEPCHA attire, and mm, the LEPCHA people is said to be the original inhabitants of Sikkim, and there's always been a discussion about from where the Lepchas had originally come to Sikkim, and some theories indicate that Lepchas came from the border of Assam or Burma, or some other theories they speak that Lepchas have migrated to Sikkim from southern Tibet. But uh, the most original roots and the most clearly established theory is that they are from the Mongolian descent. They are basically Mongols. And Lepchas are predominantly Buddhist, but most of them, they are now Christians, having they've been converted to this faith by the missionaries who came to Sikkim. So most of the Lepchas today, they are Christians, and they have shifted to other faiths. But before that, the Lepchas used to be nature worshipper. Their belief used to be based on spirits, and they used to be witchcrafty, and exorcism were very common among the Lepcha people here. And Lepcha, they have their own script, and they have their own festival. The name of the festival is Namsung, so they have their own festival, and they have their own priest and everything. And we also have Nepali people who's residing here and who constitutes the most of the population here in Sikkim, almost about 80% of the total population of the state. They comprise of Nepali people. This is the attire for Nepali people here in Sikkim, and it was the Nepali people who introduced terrace system of cultivation to the state, and the language spoken by Nepalese is understood all over the state. The official state or the common language we speak here is Nepali, though Lepchas and Bhutias were here for a very long period of time, and though we do have our own script and our own language, but then the common language we speak here is Nepali. Nepali is understood and used by each and everyone here. And Nepali also has a quite similar script to Hindi, which is known as Devanagari script. And these are all basic informations about my place here. And coming back to tourist information, like I said before, the arrival could be made by rail, road, air, or we also have helicopter service here in Sikkim. And once you come here, we have 4 districts here in Sikkim, plainly 4 districts, north, south, east, and west. And we have lots of tourist places. Like I said, Sikkim is very rich in flora and fauna, and Sikkim is a very um, tourist friendly place. It is also considered to be one of the state with a very low crime rate. And when you arrive here, we have lots of places to visit. Like in East Sikkim, East District, we have lots of tourist places like Banjakri Falls, and we have lots of monasteries in and around Gangtok. One of the major tourist attraction is MG Marg, or the local shopping mall, and we also have ropeway here in Sikkim. Um, Many Bollywood movies have also have been shot here in Sikkim, and we also have Nathula Plus that is very close. That is very close from Gangtok. Nathula is a place where we share border with the China, and where you can go and visit there, and you you can you can even have a conversation with the Chinese army there. But I'm not sure right now. I'm not sure if it's open. But then Nathula Pass is there, and Changu Lake is here in the East District, and we also have Sirathang Pass, which through Sirathang Pass we can visit the China. That is a commercial port where people from here they go and they do commercial business there in the Sirathang Pass. So all of these places, um, these are here in the East District. And if you go to the West District, we have Rabdanse ruins over there, and again lots of monasteries, and a very beautiful hiking trails are there in the West Sikkim, and also Kanchenjunga. Like I said before, Kanchenjunga, it is very close by to the West District. And if you go to South District, we have a lots of pilgrimage places. We have lots of pilgrimage destinations like Samdupse. Samdupse is a place which is solely dedicated to one of the deity, local deity, and his name was Guru Padmasambha. And we have a highest statue of Guru Padmasambha in the world over there. So people go there for pilgrimage. And we also have Chardham over there. And Chardham, according to Hindu belief, um, um, a person should visit. They believe that a person should visit all the 4 dhams in order to attain moksha. So what the government did was they built all the replicas of the 4 dhams over there. It is all located in one particular place, and most of the people who come for pilgrimage purpose they go for Chardham, because Chardham they've got the huge Shiva statue, and they've got 4 dhams all together in one place. They've got lots of temples there. So South is mostly comprised of pilgrimage destinations. We've got Buddha Park over there, and if you go to North Sikkim, you get to visit Yumthang Valley, which is one of the most beautiful valleys that you'd ever visit. And you get to visit Gurudongmar Lake, like I shared the picture before. That is considered to be one of the most beautiful and one of the most sacred lakes. And there are lots of places like Lachung, Lachen, and you do get to see lots of serene mountains there in the North Sikkim. And the best time to visit Sikkim is during March to May, or October to mid December. because if you really want to witness the natural blooming beauty of the state, the best season to visit Sikkim is springtime. That would be March to May. And if you if you really want to have a very clear view of the Himalayan range, then autumn would be the best time to visit the place. And we also have lots of tourism festivals here in Sikkim that take place during October to December most of the years, and most of the tourist festivals. Few of them, to name few of them, is Cherry Tea Festival, Red Panda Winter Festival. So we have lots of tourism festivals here in Sikkim, and to tell you about the festivals here, we are comprised with lots and lots of people. We live here harmoniously, and we celebrate each other's festivals very um, open-mindedly, and we celebrate each and every religion's festivals every year in a very grand and in a um, very grand manner. So, but um, the festivals that the Sikkimese people here, the ones we celebrate, and the ones which is very unique to Sikkim is Losar or Lochar, which is considered to be the New Year. And to name a few, these are the names of the festivals that the local people will celebrate here in Sikkim. So one of the festivals is Bumchu festival, which is very captivating, and which is very interesting. One of the most interesting festivals here that is celebrated here in Sikkim. And Bumchu is the reason why it is very much unique and very much captivating is the festival is celebrated for 2 days. And the first day, what they do is the monks, they open the sacred vase at a place called Tansiding Monastery, and they do this to predict the future and to generate forecast of impending year. So basically, what they do is, if when they open up the sacred vase, if the water is very clean and if the water is very clear, then it is considered to be a very good luck charm for the state for the coming year. But if the water is dirty, and if the water is not that clear, then it is considered to be a very bad omen for the state for the coming year. And on the second day, what they do is they again refill the vase from a sacred river nearby, and then they again seal it for the whole year. So these are few of the festivals that make Sikkim very unique, because none of these festivals we celebrate here is celebrated throughout the country. And the other unique festival we celebrate here is Sakadawa, which is celebrated on the occasion for Buddha's birthday, which is also very celebrated in a very grand manner. And also, um, Tendong Luram Fat is also one of the major and one of the most important and one of the most ancient and significant festival that we celebrate here, which is also very unique to Sikkim. And this particular festival is celebrated by my tribe, the Lepcha tribe, and we have the other one is Panglapsol, which commemorates Mount Kanchenjunga, because Mount Kanchenjunga is considered to be very sacred, and it is considered to be one of the guarding deity of Sikkim. And the rest of the festivals like Diwali, Dasera, and Eid, Chhat Puja, all of these festivals we do celebrate. So there are lots of festivals that go around throughout the year in Sikkim, and these are the details of the festivals that we celebrate here in Sikkim. And I had also given you a overview of the pilgrimage places that we have here, that we provide here in Sikkim. And when you come and visit here, we have different food habits. Not that different though, but the most common food that we serve here is rice, dal with some side dish, and um, the most common meats used here are pork, beef, chicken, and one of the most unique um, dishes we find is pork knuckles. So all of these dishes makes Sikkim a bit unique, and the best street food that you get here are thukpas and the great momos. You find lots of varieties of momos here: mutton momo, chicken momo, vegetables momo. So you get lots of varieties of momo here, and one of the unique item you get here is we call it siafale. It is basically a bread stuffed with um, stuffings and that has been deep fried. So we serve siafale here, which is a very common and common street food that you find here. And we also serve fermented soybeans, which we call kinema in our local language. And if you ever get to visit Sikkim, you do have to try all of these dishes. Kinema, we have gundruk, which is basically a Nepalese dish, and it is a very vegan dish, and it is mostly created from radish, mustard, or cabbage leaves, and it is mostly eaten as side dish. And we have thukpa, which is basically a noodle soup, which is served veg and non-veg as well. So all of this are the dishes that we serve here, and which are very common. And we also serve, and you also get to find sel roti here, which is very unique, and which is a very unique, but which is a very common item served here during the time of festivals. It is basically sweet bread. It is one of the Nepalese dish that you can find. So yeah, these are all uh, the food habits that um, you find here in Sikkim. And when you come here and when you visit Sikkim, you know, before leaving Sikkim, there are certain things, that are very common for the tourist to buy. Those are Tibetan carpets, and most of the tourists, they also go for semi-precious stones that is very commonly found here, and they also go for Sikkim tea. We have a tea garden here. It is quite famous, but it is not that famous as Darjeeling tea. It's a bit underrated, but still, Timmy tea is considered to be one of the finest tea. Mm. And we also provide Buddhist figurines and prayer flags. One of the most common things that tourists buy here is the prayer flags, and they also go for alpine cheese. And the common things they buy here are black cardamom, fresh bamboo shoots, and all the hand woven jackets. These are all very common things that the tourists buy here. And I'll share a few pictures now. Okay, yeah. So um, this is Siafale, the picture that I just shared. This is Siafale. It is, like I said before, it is basically a bread stuffed with all the stuffings and deep fried. And it is very common thing that you find here in Sikkim. And and the picture that I've just shared, this is called thukpa in our local language, and it is basically a noodle soup served with the meats of your choice. This is a very common item that you find throughout the restaurants here in Gantok. Wherever you go throughout the state, you find it. You can find it anywhere. And okay, so the picture that I've just shared, this is Chardham, one of the most well-known pilgrimage destinations. This is in the South District of the state. So most of the tourists who come for pilgrimage purpose, they they make sure that they visit this place before they leave the state. And also, this is one of the most famous and very common tourist destination here in East Sikkim East District. This is MG Mark, or the local town or the local marketplace. All of the great restaurants and shops and everything, you get it here, and most of the shoppings done by the tourists is done here. So basically this is the main town area of the state. Are you guys being able to see the pictures that I'm sharing?
Yes, we are able to see.
Clear.
But if you will come to some conclusion, we may ask some questions also.
Okay, I'll just share a few pictures with you, and then I'll take up the questions. Okay. Okay, so let me share one of the pictures of the last Chogel of Sikkim. So he is the last Chogel. His name is Palden Thutup Namgyel. So he was the last monarch of Sikkim, and it was during his rule that Sikkim was annexed into being the part of India. Yes, so I guess I should take up questions now
Okay.
because I've taken up much time.
Good presentation, Aman. Good presentation. It's a time for question and section. People can
Yeah,
ask
okay.
questions now. Okay. You can unmute and ask. Okay. One more thing. First, I want to ask one question. Your state is having
Okay.
with three countries border. Am I right? Three country border.
Yes, yes.
Any problem you are facing? Because normally in the majority of the areas, the Chinese border are having problem with India. Is there any such problem in your place, Sikkim?
No problem as such here in Sikkim. Before, during the 17th century and all, there used to be a lots of wars that had taken place in the state. But right now, because of all the treaties that has been signed with the other countries, so it's quite peaceful. There is no such thing as, like, insurgencies, or there is no such thing as tension that arises between all of the countries, neither with Bhutan or with China or with Nepal. So Sikkim is basically a very peaceful state.
Which is the longest border in which country you are having in Bhutan? So which country? Chinese border is longest one.
Yes, yes.
How many kilometers is the Chinese border?
Uh, Chinese border, we share around 200 kilometers of border.
Great.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have one question. Which is the best suited period to visit Sikkim as a tourist?
The best time would be spring, like I said before, from March to May,
Yeah.
and also October till mid-December is also a very suitable place, because after mid-December it would be very cold,
Yeah.
the temperature would considerably drop down, so it might be hard for the tourists.
Yeah, thank you.
How many days we require to cover the whole Sikkim? Normally, if you plan, like a tour plan.
Uh, well, if you really want to visit all the corners of of the state, then I guess you know, 3 weeks, or 3 weeks, or even 1 month would be, you know.
1 month for us.
1 month.
Oh, we lost everything if we come there
if
1 month.
if you really want to, if you just want to visit all the tourist destinations, it wouldn't take much of a time. But if you
We are
really want
not going to
to
visit each
get the
house.
insight, yes, if you really want
In
to
one
get
month, we can
inside the
visit all the
state,
houses.
Correct. How many days we require to visit important
yes,
places? 2 nights, 3 days,
Oh,
package
no,
like that.
not.
yeah, if you plan accordingly, like, you know, if you plan to visit tourist destinations here in the East District, it might take you around 3 days, and again, if you go to another district, it'll take you some it'll take you some time to visit all the tourist destinations there, that's there in the West District, and again you have to travel to the other districts. So it might take you around 2 weeks to travel all the 4 districts and all the places that's there in all the 4 districts. So 2 weeks, you know. But that is, having said that, that is all the, you know, all the tourist destinations. If you really want to travel solo, or if you really want to explore, you know, it might take you some time.
Any other questions?
Aman,
Yes, ask.
Yes, sir.
Aman,
Yes, sir. Tell me, sir.
is there a is there a tourist package within the state and the tourism development so that we can take 5 nights and 4 days? I'm asking you because coming away from
Yes,
home for a longer
lots
time
of travel agencies.
are there.
Lots of travel agencies.
This
Lots of travel
Kanchenjunga
agencies
is
like
one.
Domascope and
Kanchenjunga is one peak we're keen on. Suppose we arrive at Sikkim, and how do you take? Do you need more than a day, or just less than a day to go to Kanchenjunga?
no, you would not be able to go and visit Kanchenjunga. You can simply see and observe it from distance.
That's what from
You can,
the base of that mountainous region, somewhere
yes,
100 kilometers of 10 kilometers nearby. I'm asking.
yes.
No
For that
chance.
you need to visit. For that you need to visit West District of the state.
Fine.
From there you need to go for hiking. You need to get connected with some of the agencies there. You need to get a special permit, and then you would be able to go and visit the base camp. And
Thank
also
you.
one of the interesting fact, yeah, and one of the interesting fact is Mount Kanchenjunga hasn't been summited yet. It is not allowed because it is
Oh.
considered to be sacred. So no one's
Yes.
allowed to reach the top of the mountain.
Very
So
good.
Any more
Is
questions?
it the
Ask.
Kanchenjunga or Kanchenjunga?
Kanchenjunga.
Junga.
Yeah.
Name of a goddess or
It is name of the mountain actually, but then the locals
okay.
here, we consider him as the deity, local deity.
Male or female?
Male, I suppose.
Male deity. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Wonderful presentation.
You made a
Aman.
very good presentation. Very excellent presentation.
Wonderful presentation.
Thank you so much.
Our club.
I
Thank you
couldn't
for
cover much, though.
Okay.
You're looking very handsome. Thank you.
Thanks.
29 years old
We
boy.
should ask him what is his age because he looks so young for his age, I believe.
Tell Aman, tell about you. What age you are? 29?
Yes, I am 29. Yes.
Our 20 years old boy. great.
You are in the pink of health. So we just thought, very good.
What are the street food famous over there?
One of the most
I
common.
know that momos are very much famous over there, right? Momos.
Yeah, momos are very much famous, and the other ones are thukpa, that is basically a noodle with soup, and siafale is a deep fried bread stuffed with stuffings, meat stuffings,
Yes.
and lots of local samosas and everything that are very common. But then the unique ones from Sikkim is siafale, and you get thukpa noodles. So these are all.
Very good. I think you have told us so much about the food. We need about 3 days to taste all of them.
Yes.
Save ourselves.
Okay.
But it's a very good. I don't think even the government of Sikkim would have done that. You have done it so well for us.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Excellent presentation, Aman. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And now we are coming to the end of the program. Now I invite Friend P.T. Balaji to propose vote of thanks.
To our Honorable President, respected Secretary, and our valued guest, Mr. Aman, Boris LEPCHA, and fellow Rotarians, it's my privilege to have been asked to propose the vote of thanks. On behalf of Rotary Madurai West, I extend a hearty thanks to our guest for sparing his valuable time and taking us through the land of Sikkim. Knowing about a place from a native person is more revealing than any other source. The session was not just about the list of places to visit, but was informative and fascinating too, on knowing about the history, culture, cuisine, and heritage of the state. It was interesting to know that Sikkim is a fully organic state and imposed a complete ban on plastic, which is the need of the hour for the entire world. And also he has made us to realize and appreciate our country's beauty rather than looking for beauty and tourism elsewhere. We will of course now make Sikkim top of our places to visit list, and for all the experiences we shall have in Sikkim, the credit will go to our guest, Mr. Aman LEPCHA. I finally thank our guest for this fascinating speech and for taking us on a virtual tour during this lockdown time. I thank everyone for being present this evening. It's been a great pleasure, and thank you.
Balaji, beautiful.
Thank you.